Today, we're going to talk about something that might just change the way you see your relationships forever. What if those huge, frustrating, knockdown, drag-out fights you keep having, what if they aren't a sign that you're with the wrong person? What if they're actually the key to your own growth? Let's get into it. Oh, you know the feeling, right? It's like you're stuck on a horrible merry-go-round. Same topic, same trigger, same awful feeling in your stomach. It doesn't matter if it's with your partner, your mom, a friend. It is completely draining. But here's a wild thought. What if that endless loop isn't a glitch in your relationship? What if it's actually a feature? I mean, listen to that. It completely flips the script on everything we've ever been told. We spend our lives looking for our soulmate, our perfect match, someone who just gets us. But what if all that searching for perfect compatibility is missing the point? What if our differences, our incompatibilities, are actually where the magic happens? Okay, so let's blow up this idea of the compatibility myth. We're going to dig into why this pretty counterintuitive idea that your differences are your greatest strengths is so important for building a relationship that actually lasts. Think about it. Pretty much from day one, we learned that fighting is bad. Conflict means something's wrong, right? It's a sign of failure. But what if we just reframed that? What if a conflict isn't a breakdown? What if it's a breakthrough that's trying to happen? An invitation to dig deeper, not to just give up. So making that mental shift really starts with understanding that there are two totally different mindsets we can bring to an argument, and they change everything. All right, this right here is a really big deal. Most of us by default are linear thinkers. It's simple cause and effect. You did this, so now I feel this. It's all about finding who's at fault, which creates a victim and a villain. But circular thinking, that's a total game changer. It asks a different question. How are we both creating this dance? What's my part in this pattern? See the difference? It's not about blame, it's about shared responsibility. You know, the reason we love linear cause and effect thinking is because it's easy. It's a kind of cognitive laziness. Our brains like simple stories, and having a clear bad guy feels a lot safer than admitting things are messy and complicated. But that simple story is exactly what keeps us stuck. And that brings us to the big question you have to ask yourself in the heat of the moment. At every single point in a fight, you have a choice. You can double down and fight to prove you're right, or you can shift your focus and fight for the connection. And here's the kicker. Most of the time, you can't have both. So why? If fighting to be right just pushes people away, why is it our go-to move? And maybe more importantly, why do we seem to pick partners who are almost perfectly engineered to push our buttons? Well, the answer goes way deeper than you might think. Okay, this is where it gets fascinating. Your unconscious mind has this secret mission. It's trying to heal the unfinished business of your childhood. So it brilliantly seeks out a partner who feels familiar, someone who can stir up those same old feelings, to give you a second chance, a chance to finally resolve those old wounds and get the happy ending you never got as a kid. And that unfinished business comes from our relational blueprint, which gets wired in during these 4 key stages. From birth to age 2, it's all about feeling safe and connected. Then from 2 to 3, we need to explore. 3 to 4 is about finding our own identity, and 4 to 6 is about feeling capable. Any needs that went unmet in these years get stamped onto our blueprint, and we carry that with us into all our adult relationships. Now here is the wild twist. 2 people can get wounded in the exact same stage, but develop opposite coping styles. One person becomes a minimizer. To feel safe, they learn to pull away, to be hyper-independent. The other becomes a maximizer, who learn to pursue and cling to get their needs met. And who do you think they're magnetically drawn to in adulthood? You guessed it, each other. It's a perfect storm. So that's the why. That's the deep down reason our relationships can feel so difficult. We're literally attracted to our own issues, walking around in another person's body. But now for the how. How do we actually use this knowledge and turn these conflicts into connection? First things first, you can't have connection without safety. It's impossible. So the ground rule has to be zero negativity. This is a conscious decision to clean up the space between you. You get rid of the pollution, the little digs, the sarcasm, the eye rolls, the criticism. You make the relationship a safe zone where you can both finally let your guard down. So instead of the usual train wreck of an argument, you can learn a new skill. It's a structured conversation. Step 1 is mirroring. You just repeat back what you heard. Okay, so if I'm getting this right, what you're saying is, that alone is huge because it forces you to actually listen. Then comes validation. This doesn't mean you agree. It just means you say, from your point of view, that makes total sense. You're validating their reality. And finally, empathy. I can imagine that must feel really frustrating. This process literally replaces fighting with understanding. And look, building that positive vibe isn't just something you do in a fight. It's a daily habit. Try this. Every day, offer 3 genuine, specific things you appreciate about the other person. Bring back basic politeness, the please and thank you we forget. And learn to laugh at your own crazy patterns. Humor takes all the toxic energy out of the room. Now, check out this number, 69%. Research shows that 69% of a couple's problems are basically unsolvable. They are perpetual. They will be there on your 50th wedding anniversary. And that sounds terrifying, but honestly, it is so liberating. It means the goal isn't to make your problems disappear. The goal is just to learn how to talk about them, how to dance with them in a better way. Okay, and that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. This is the reframe that I think changes everything about how you see your biggest fights. Just think about that for a second. The thing that drives you absolutely nuts about your partner. What if it's the very quality you secretly need more of in your own life? If you're super rigid, are you married to someone who's spontaneous and a little chaotic? If you're loud and expressive, are you with someone who is quiet and contained? That thing isn't an accident. It's a resource. Your partner is holding a piece of your own wholeness that you need to reclaim. And that's the heart of it all. Buried underneath every single complaint, every criticism, every fight, there is a hidden dream. There is a longing, an unfulfilled need from way back when. The argument you're having, that's not the real issue. It is a clumsy, often painful attempt to finally feel safe or seen or valued. So I'll just leave you with that question to chew on. Think about your biggest, most repetitive fight, the one that feels like a dead end. And instead of asking, who's right here, try asking something new. What is the hidden dream that's trying to come out in this mess? What is this conflict really asking for? Because the answer to that, well, that could change absolutely everything.